It's been about 30 hours since you last saw me, and in that period of time we've had some extremely strong wind and a lot, and I mean a lot, of heavy rain. So I've not managed to get out since that last dawn photo shoot. And just to give you some idea of what we're talking about here in terms of weather, at the moment I'm in the north part of the island and the wind currently is coming up from the south, but that's to change again in the next few hours. It's to come from the west, and when it really blows here, it really blows. So I'm going to show you some kelp now that's been whipped up by the last lot of wind. That pile behind me is as deep as I am tall. It's absolutely phenomenal, the damage that the sea can do to these kelp forests. But I'm sure it's like many habitats, in that with destruction comes renewed growth. I don't really know about marine environments, but that looks like it's pretty significant to me. Anyway, so I thought I'd grab the opportunity to come out whilst the rain had stopped, before this wind changes direction and come into this nice sheltered bay. Really quite nice, an open space. Not really a huge amount for the bigger landscape, but on a grey day like this, with all these boulders and all that kelp and this lovely smooth sand, I'm sure I can find something. Right, I found a good starter, and originally I was looking at all the little boulders and the pools and trying to construct something from those with this one here, for example, that band in there, really beautiful, and that was certainly something I considered for a time, and I was playing around with different compositions, but wasn't quite feeling it on that one. And then I came across this really unusual bit of rock here, this long one, and you can see all these details. Now if someone can tell me what's responsible for that, I'd really like to hear it. Now there was a little bit of sand in one or two of the holes that I've brushed out, and it did leave a little wet mark just here, but in the time it's taken me to get over there and grab my camera, it's already dried out. So I've got quite a bit of scope here to form a composition. Now there's a famous painting by, I'm sure it's Van Gogh, and there's a moon and the sky in swirls, and I can't recall the name of it. Again, if you can remind me what that is, please leave a comment below, but those swirls certainly remind me of that painting. So I'm going to get the camera out and see if I can line something up. So I've lined up what I consider to be the most compelling to my eye, and there's a couple of things I've done to make it a bit more pleasing to the eye. It's already quite pleasing, to be fair. Is that I've angled the camera so that the shapes are coming in at diagonals rather than straight across the frame, and I'm sure there's any number of positions possible in this, but I quite like the way that I've settled on it now at the diagonal. Now this is a 100mm macro lens, but don't be misled by that. Just because it's a macro lens doesn't mean to say that you need this to get this shot. The distance that I'm at for this shot is by no means it's necessary to have a macro lens. Any lens that's got the 100mm focal length range will get this without any problem at this distance. The problem I've got is that there's still a little bit of rain in the air, there was some sand down here, and I've brushed that off because it was part of my composition, and I've allowed the rock to dry out there now, which is really quite nice. It's dried off nicely. There's no evidence of damp at all, but I'm getting a bit of rain coming in, and that's splattering the surface of the rock, and I can't get my shot until such time that rain stops. So this shot may just well never happen. It only takes a few seconds for it to dry, but it's constantly just landing on it, which is a bit frustrating. Aperture wise, I'm on f16. It's going to be a single shot, and it's an eighth of a second, and it's just straight really. What I have done is, because I liked the idea of the Van Gogh painting, I think it's Starry Night, I think that seems to ring a bell. Because I like that idea, I've adjusted the white balance to a much more cooler blue, to sort of give that feel to the image. So I'll hang around, and once the rain has stopped spitting on this, assuming it does at some point, I will put that image on. Now in the end, I had to resort to shielding the stone with my own body, because the wind and the rain just were pretty relentless, and there's only so long you can stand staring at a stone before you need to move on. Hopefully that came out okay. I'm sure it did. It felt pretty good when I took it. A nice abstract. I've turned the camera around so that I'm facing the wind. Well, the glasses are getting wet through. It literally is coming at me horizontally. But that's pretty much part and parcel of Orkney, it seems. I think I need to pink-footed geese going overhead. You can see them. They're on the way from the Arctic, Iceland, where they've spent the summer, and will probably spend, some of them at least, on the estuary where I live, in Lancashire. So yeah, I'll try and find something that's already wet now, I think, rather than battle with this relentless spotting of rain. It's not so heavy that I feel like I need to retreat. The wind is blowing sufficiently enough that by the time it lands on clothing, it's virtually drying straight away, so it's not unmanageable. You just got to try and find the right things to photograph. I'll have a wander over there and see what that brings. I've retreated to the local toilets, just at the top of the beach. The only bit of shelter, apart from the bit of a trek to the van, which is just crazy weather. I'm on the sheltered side of the toilets here, so it's not quite so bad, but on the other side, it's just unworkable. Can't possibly get images in that. Not unless you're within a structure like this and you can shoot from inside. I saw it coming, but I didn't think it was going to come quite as strong as what it did. Oh, it's just crazy. You've just got to be on your game in Orkney, it seems. The light is so dynamic and you've just got to react, and I'm afraid this is sort of not helping with the continuity of this film, I'm sure, but you've just got to go with whatever you're presented with, and that's what I'm doing. You saw this afternoon I ended up being stuck in the toilet sheltering from the rain, and now I'm back at a location I was at yesterday morning and the night before because of the forecast. If you just look on the horizon there, you can see that clear patch. The forecast is for a clear night tonight, and as that western horizon clears, where the sun's going down, over to the east where the stormy weather's gone, that should light up, providing that clears in good time. And I'm thinking I should probably set up a composition looking in this direction, because the colours potentially reflecting in the water and on the rocks could be fantastic. It's a very, very dynamic situation, and I'm going to monitor it for the next 10-15 minutes or so. The time now is 1800 and sunset is at 18:25, so not a lot of time. Looking at the horizon, I've got my doubts as to whether it will clear in time or not, but I'll give you an idea. If I can, I'll just dial that down the right way. You can see there now there's just a thin slither of light. It could do with being clearer than that, but it is what it is, and I'll work with whatever comes, and hopefully we'll get something nice out of this evening. As you can see, I'll just darken that down then so you can see the horizon. The sun has gone, didn't really get going, it just sort of dipped behind the clouds there at the horizon, and that's pretty much going to be it, I'm sure. It's the clouds just haven't moved over as quickly as I'd hoped, but I'll hang around. I'll spend a bit of time here now that I'm down here, and we're just getting into the blue hour now, and that might just, you never know, it just might present an opportunity. But if not, that is the end of that as far as this evening's session is concerned. But as I've said so many times, it seems on this trip, is that you're never really quite sure what you're going to get, how it's going to pan out, and it could be chucking it down one minute and beautiful sunshine the next, cloudy, clear blue skies, rainbows, you name it, you absolutely get it. Right, I'm in that awful predicament when I can't seem to find a composition that doesn't disappear the minute I get set up on it, and so what I've done is I've got this one here and I've set up much higher than where the tide is currently coming in, and the plan is that I can get myself ready and wait for the water and then capitalise on the shot. Sky looks amazing, sort of lovely glow that I was talking about. It's almost sinister looking. So the water's coming in already, it's coming in so fast. So sharpen that up. I'm on, my focal length is 28mm, which is about 21mm in reality. Got a clear band off to the left hand side, and a big dark expanse of light off to my right, so I've got to be careful I don't clip those right hand highlights. And I'm using these rocks that you see in the foreground just to anchor the base of my image. There's a nice triangular shape, and then you've got the rocks leading in to the rough sea. So I've got a 5-second exposure. I'm going to take one now, that's at f16, and that will obviously get longer and longer as it gets darker. I'll take another one at that. Get some nice turbulence now around the rock. Needing to underexpose ever so slightly, because that bright highlight on the left is really a problem. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a grad just over that left hand side to hold it back, and I know a lot of you would want to do that in post, and that's fine, but if I can get it right whilst I'm here, I will do. What have we got there? It's a 0.6, yep, that should do it. Edge that over that right hand side there. Bring that back up to correct exposure now. So I've now got 8 seconds at f16 at 100 ISO. I'm not going to cut the camera, I'm going to do this real time. I won't say it's my favourite composition I've ever taken, but I'll try and show you as best I can on the back of the camera. So there you've got the composition, which I think is alright, it's not too bad. I'll take another one quickly. Oh, come on, sharpen up. I'm all fuzzy because it can't see anything. Here we go, wait for it. So I'll put that on there. It's not looking too bad at all. I'm liking some of those colours in that sky. So that glow is actually materialising as I'd hoped it would. Come on, sharpen up on me. There we go. So I'll put you back down there and I'll continue to shoot. I'll just darken that down a bit. There you go, that's more like what it is in reality. Obviously I've got my camera bag on my back. I'm frightened to death of putting it down because I get so carried away that I just forget it. So that's a good one, the water's coming in, lots of turbulence. This is what I was hoping for. I'm actually going to take one now without any grads on, because in fact I will just put the see what it's like faffing about in real time. So what I'm doing there is I've just taken the neutral density filter out. Well, I've got to get this because what I want to try and do now is get the roughness. I'm going to up the ISO to 800 because I think it'd be nice to show one with the rough sea. So that's 800 ISO. Back to f16, darken that down now. I'm going to wait for, because it really is nice to see it in its raw, rough, natural beauty. Colours are just intense. I'll put both of these on at the end so you can see the rough one, and also, you know, with all the textures in the water showing, and also one with it all smoothed out. Just check that I've got those shutter speeds right. Yeah, that's not bad at all. What I'm going to do is take it down to f14. Goodness, making sure I'm nice and sharp where I need to be. That's an 1/8 of a second at f14. I could do with a little bit more turbulence. It's got that lull period between the big waves when there's not a lot happening. But I'm liking all the foam in the water, and there's a temptation to smooth it out on every photograph, but it's not always the case. Right, I shall shut up waffling on, and I'll carry on grabbing these shots while I still can, but I'll put those two on there, the soft one followed by the sharper one. So good morning everybody, you catch up with me after a very rough night in the van, and we've come to the complete opposite side of the island this morning at a little ferry terminal called Kingjoy ferry terminal, the opposite side to where all the drama is happening. It's just absolute madness over there. I'll put a little phone picture on that I took, a little panorama this morning from a little churchyard overlooking the bay. It was just unworkable. You could barely stand up. The van was rocking all night. The rain was beating on the sides. So we've dashed over to this side this morning to have some breakfast in what would seem to be relatively calm by comparison. And not only 5 minutes ago I was stood just here and I had to retreat. The rain came in and it was just horrendous. When the rain comes here, it just comes with absolute force. The winds pick up and it's just crazy, and it's got to be experienced to be believed, really. And we really only came out here to have breakfast, but this island caught my eye a couple of days ago as we drove past, and simplicity is what draws me to it. And it reminds me very much of Harris. There's an island on Harris at the southern end that looks very similar. Just a simple mound with nothing but open water and flat areas of land on either side. I'm just losing my microphone. I've not had a chance to clip it in properly. And just flat patches of land on either side, and it makes for a lovely simple scene. And I'm just waiting now for a bit more drama in the clouds. I'd like some light on the island and some moody, dark, brooding sky above. Whether I'll get that or not, I don't know, but I just love the simplicity of it. I've got a 6-stop case neutral density filter on to slow down any movement in the water, because I want that to be nice and soft on this occasion. But a 5-second exposure, it's only just enough really. I may even switch to a 10-stop at f/19 at 100 ISO, and I've also got a 0.6 neutral density grad on the top, just to sort of give a bit more mood to that sky above and create a bit more drama to the image. As I speak now, there's a seal just bobbing its head up and down right in the centre part of the frame. But I'll hang around a little while, and hopefully I can get the light I want and I can put the image on. So you can see the light is starting to do its thing. The sun off to the right hand side there, lighting the landscape. But I just want some darker, moody clouds above, and ideally with a little bit more texture as well. Maybe I'm being a bit fussy. The wind's really starting to pick up again now, which suggests there's rain on the way. But as far as I can see behind me, there are just patches of blue sky. Off to the right hand side there may be some rain clouds coming over, but they probably won't affect me. f/19, 1 second exposure, it really isn't enough that, so I'm going to swap that for a 10-stop. I'd like my exposures to be a little bit longer, more in the 5-second region really, to be able to soften the water, but not too much. So that's the 10-stop on. Actually getting exposures of 10 seconds now, so we'll give that a go and see how that looks. Right, so assuming I get this shot, which I think I have, I will put that image on now. that put an end to that. My camera took a nosedive into the tarmac and it's completely ruined. But to be fair, it is my last day on Orkney and I've had that camera about 5 years, so it's not done too badly, to be fair. So whilst I've been here these last few days, I've been trying to think of a word, a title, a phrase that really sums up what Orkney's all about, and it really is about this. It's about great lights, changing conditions, excitement, atmosphere, all that. And I was talking to Ruth, my partner, about it, and she said for her that the place was hauntingly beautiful, and I couldn't agree more. Now, me on the other hand as a photographer, and my experiences, I felt that the best description for me was, quick, there's a cloud coming, run for your life. And that's exactly what it's been like for me. I've just been dodging the rain, the wind, just all the time I've been here. It's been really quite thrilling at times. Now today we were in a coffee shop and Ruth pointed out to me a little picture frame on the wall, and there was a tapestry in that picture frame and a quote, and I don't know who the quote was by, but it really sums up photography, and I thought it was quite a good little metaphor. And the quote said, "Life is not about waiting for the storm to pass, it's about learning to dance with the rain." And I thought that was really, really fitting, and I love that, and I think it really suits this place. So I'll put the images on in just a second, but if you have enjoyed the film and you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and leave some comments below. Let me know what you think of the video. So until next time, from a very, very beautiful Orkney, I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.